Hello and welcome everybody to the final episode of my Jool 5 mission series Journey to Jool, and this is a bittersweet one because, well, first of all, we're finally going to land back at Kerbal, so we're going to have the triumphant return of the brave crew that mastered this dangerous and very sophisticated mission. On the other hand, it's time to say goodbye to an extraordinary adventure that enabled me to learn a lot more about this game and also about, well, rocket building in general. So here we are on our approach to an encounter with Kerbal, and we're almost there. Here we are. Now we have to adjust our periaps so that we get a closer encounter and possibly be able to aerobrake. There's this nifty site that can calculate at what periaps you should put yourself to aerobrake given your vehicle's mass, drag coefficient, your current altitude, orbital velocity, and the like. So that's what I did, and here we are. Look at that, the blue pearl of the solar system, Kerbal, waiting for its 5 suns to return home. Of course, we once again have to get the solar panels back in and close the cargo bay for heat protection. And yes, the Joolishka, our trusty rocket, is burning up in the atmosphere, or well, it looks like it's burning up. Of course, we don't hope that it will burn up. Otherwise, that mission will fail on the final step of the journey. But we're looking good here, and we're getting a stable orbit, well, a manageable apoapse, rather, in Kerbal's sphere of influence. So, I was thinking, maybe should I do another pass and make some careful aerobraking until I have the orbit that I desired, which was around 100 kilometers above the surface. But I said, nah, let's just use the huge amounts of delta V still left in that rocket and blast ourselves to the desired orbit. So, since we're low on fuel, the craft is, well, comparatively light. And of course, the 21 nuclear engines will be enough to get this thing close to the surface, well, closer to the surface. So once more dipping through the atmosphere just a little bit. Well, here I actually tried to do that second aerobraking pass, but I think a few minutes later I just got bored with it. And here we go. Getting closer. Oops, and yeah, that was too much. So we have to adjust and make some correction burn. There we go. Huge amounts of delta V left. Well, still. You know, maybe I would have really been better off. I was joking, of course, before when I said we just do some really huge ass burn. But as a matter of fact, it seems like I don't have any choice but to burn a lot of fuel to get a stable orbit around Kerbal. So here we are, just checking my altitude, checking the apoapse. We don't want to fall back to the surface. Well, it could have been a better orbit. It's not really as equatorial as I had hoped, but it will have to be enough. So once more taking a good look at the planet that has brought forth the 5 heroes of this mission. Of course, them of course being Jebediah, Bob, Roni, Fermal and Dumor Kerman. And here we're just taking some sunbathing until we are on our final approach. Yes, just some small burn, which takes a lot less time than it did when I was leaving this place. So it looks better. Yeah, so, well, now it is time to get some science back onto the surface, and in order to do that we have to dump the lab, which is of course using its own drone core and monopropellant fuel system. The drone core is in the back, but I'm using the docking port in front to control it. So we want to have a splashdown in the ocean, so it cushions the fall even better. Even though we have, I think, more than enough parachutes to get down safely. But after, well, more than 9 years of a mission and that many science points on board, we don't want anything to happen to them, do we? So here we're already in the atmosphere and we just gliding along and hope that we will splash down safely in the ocean. If my calculations are correct, that should happen without any problem. Some re-entry visual effects, of course, with no effect at all. That would probably be different with the update 1.0, but that's still far away. Now the parachutes have opened and we're gliding down to the surface of the ocean. Still having some delta V left, so we're using the engines to slow our descent. And yes, we have touched down safely back home. So how much science did we get? 20,781 science! Well, it's over 9,000, clearly. That's nice. Look at that. That's a lot of science. A lot of science indeed. Yes, sir. So, after we have recovered our scientific data, it was time to finally get the crew back home. Jeb, Bob, Doomer, Fermal and Roni Kerman are eager to meet their loved ones again, even though they have aged significantly, because those Kerbals have been almost 10 years away from home. Now, once again, I'm using monopropellant engines, so I don't have to put on any extra tanks. I'm using the monoprop inside of the capsules. And of course, I will be using parachutes again to drop down into the ocean. Let's have a look at our home planet while we're descending towards it at deadly velocity indeed. So here we go. Time for re-entry. Getting the heat on, feeling the heat. Just having a look outside of the window. Yes, parachutes are open. 4 of them to be exact. That should be enough. Or is it 6? I think it's 6. No, it's 4. So parachutes, that should be enough to get us down. Or is it 6? I'm not sure yet. So finally, parachutes have opened and the moon in the background, beautiful. So once again we have some delta V left, slowing our descent and splash down. After 9 years, 317 days, 3 hours, 49 minutes and 8 seconds, the crew is safely home and we got some Bonus science because the capsule dove through the atmosphere of Lathe, so we got some 16 science points as well. And now, while the Kerbals are celebrating, or are being celebrated as the heroes of the mission, an unsung hero remains in orbit. Joolishka, the stalwart and reliable craft that brought the 5 astronauts, well, Kerbonauts, to their destinations and home, will stay in orbit, waiting for the day when she will maybe be needed again. So it is time to shut down the lights, close the cargo bays, and prepare her for the long sleep that lies ahead. Thank you so much for watching this series. It's been a pleasure. And while the Joolishka, big for something Kerbal made, but tiny compared to the vast size of the universe, disappears from sight, let us enjoy this moment and the music. Goodbye.